Good morning. Okay, let's start with full body warm-up. So starting with your nose, drop the chin to the chest, and then draw a circle in front of you with your nose all the way around. So if you've had a hectic morning or a lot to do today, maybe close your eyes and just try to use this time and just do close your focus inwards a little bit. Try and have heavy shoulders. Maybe we take the head back a little bit, but definitely we're not forcing at all here. Jaws nice and soft, mouth even opens as we take the head back, and then let's take it in the other direction. If you've got a bit of stiffness in your neck, it's nice to lift the shoulders so you always feel you've got a bit of support for the neck all the way around. And then with soft knees, have a little shrug out. Go to the full body now, that full body surface. Let's separate the feet. Start with the arms, sweep them all the way over to the right, all the way up, nice big stretch in 4 directions, and then all the way over. So we're starting to add on that lateral flexion, forward flexion of the spine, opening. So we're keeping the same direction initially. So if we activate the feet to grip the floor with the feet, you'll start to get that work into the adductors, your inner thighs. Nice big movements. If we stretch into the fingertips, then we'll fire up the whole chain of muscles in the arms. So we're just getting more of the body involved. You can start to add on a small back bend here as we come up, but think about pulling in the core and leaning back. Try to focus on an upper back bend, because that's obviously where we tend to round the shoulders. So that's where we want to give our bodies a little bit of a counter with the chest open wide. And then let's take those circles to the other direction. Opening wide, active through the fingers. Also think about stretching the skin on the palms of the hands. Go easy if the backs of your legs are a little bit tight and they maybe need a little bit more time, so maybe slowing down if there's a phase of this circling where you feel you've got a little bit more patience needed. Twice more, and then we're moving on. So still thinking about warming up, but then using one of the yoga poses. Obviously one of my favourites, extended side angle, because we can think about it in so many ways, to use the body in so many different ways. So before we do that, because that's a wide leg stance, let's step the feet together and just kick back a little bit. So the reminder, toes pointing forwards, legs nice and wide. Now, as we turn the right toes to the right, pointing to the right wall, we bend the knees over the ankle, and let's sweep the opposite arm out to the side and up and over the ear. Now, I'm going to stretch the fingertips right down the side of the body. So here we're creating space to the side of the body. So let's just focus on that initially. Lower the arm, come up to standing, change the feet. So right toes pointing forward, left toes out to the left wall. Bend, sweep the arm out wide behind. Stretch overhead. Next time, side to side, we still get that movement of side bend, but now we're going to add on an inner thigh stretch. So use this right forearm to guide the knee back in space, and send to the other side. So each time we're changing the direction of the toes so that we are working with the knee in line with the toes. Nice alignment for the knees, protecting the knees, so the stabilizers of the knees and ankles aren't going to work at this point. Right, this time we have a side stretch, inner thigh stretch, and now grip the floor with the feet and slightly press away. So imagine my hand is on this front shin, you're pressing into it. So on the side bend, inner thigh, and squeezing the glutes, pressing the feet into the floor. And let's say that to the other side. Left toes to the left, inner thigh, side stretch. Now activate the feet, so squeeze the glutes. I feel you're pressing your shin towards the side wall, reaching overhead. Okay, back to the first side. Start to get that inner thigh stretch, side of the body. Grip the floor with the feet, but this time, this right thigh bone, try and draw it into the socket. So we're drawing, sucking the the floor together and energy up the body. Grip, grip, grip. And release other sides. Turn the toes in the thumb. Side bend, stretch into the fingertips. Press down through the feet and then draw this thigh bone into the socket. You can feel that strengthening for the hips. And now we'll just take a flowing action. Sweeping over and returning. Sometimes it's nice just to get a nice flowing movement so we feel we're opening up the body. Your pace, don't go too fast. We want to feel we can stabilize, still getting those stretches. Now the brain is thinking about all those different muscles. Now we've got a rounding forwards action with what we're doing now. Let's change that now. So instead of coming down with this top arm, let's open up. So here, open the arms out wide, the wide wingspan, grip the floor, that action, and stand up. Switch to the other side. Come to the side, reach forwards up, and then stretch the arms out wide, grip and pull in, and reset. Come to the side, reach forwards up, and a little bit of an open twist going on here. So maybe we start to open the chest up to the ceiling. Reach forwards, and here we're using my elbow to press the knee back, and we get more of an opening in the chest. Last time, each side. Okay, nice, almost like a feeling like a morning stretch yawn with the shoulders. Great. Toe and heel the feet in and just kick back a couple of times. Now that was very much in a wide stance. Now let's think about moving forwards and backwards. So just to get the brain thinking about balance, taking turns to lift one knee in towards the chest and the other. Let's try and do it really mindfully so you're pacing through the foot before lifting. We think about sometimes when we're running or even just when we're walking, we don't actually make use of all of the muscles of the feet. So we can use this time just to waken that awareness of how we use the feet. Okay, one side at a time. First of all, we're going to have the weight into your right foot, and let's step that left knee forwards and up. Soften a standing leg and step back into a lunge. We're pausing long enough to tilt the tailbone, front knees bent, back legs straight. So we're tilting the pelvis back in space. Okay, and let's go again. Come forwards, weight into your front foot, and lift. Soften the standing leg and adjust back. So this may be enough of a balance challenge for you at this stage in the day. So maybe stay here. Otherwise, when you've planted that back foot, you can start to let the heel drop down. We're getting a stretch into the calf muscle. Then we tilt the pelvis and we lift the arms. So that two-way stretch into the fingertips overhead and into the heel at the back. We come forward. You can tap halfway and then lift. Carry on. So we either find our balance here, hands on the hips if that's easier. Let the heel melt down, no forcing, because this obviously into the calf muscle, into the Achilles tendon. You want to be nice and gentle with this, hip square to the front. Let's have two more like that on this side. Shoulders back and down. Always trying to think about that reset, nice and open across the chest, release down tall. The nice thing about reaching overhead is we've got a better opportunity of stretching the psoas major. So we're not just working on the bulk of those hip flexors, we're getting that major, really important hip flexor stretch. So for the last one, let's think about, if you can, if you haven't been so far, letting the heel melt down, tilting the pelvis and reaching overhead. And here, taking a big breath in, feeling everything rise up, the ribs coming out of the pelvis, stretching. Maybe a little bit of side to side jiggle, reaching through one set of fingertips and then the other. And then lower the hands, and then let's switch legs. If you need to shake that in between, that's fine. All right, let's plant our roots of the left leg, the toes, and let's first of all take that lift into your right knee. We'll soften the standing knee, Hinge forwards through the upper body and step back, find your footing. Front knees bent, back leg straight. Now, tilt the pelvis, that posterior tilt. So, pelvis is a bowl of water, tipping water out the back. Feel that hip flexor stretch. Feel the weight coming into the front knee, so we can lift. And then step back. So once the brain has kind of caught up with us and knows the movement we're going for, you can start to then sink a little bit deeper through the back heel, maintaining this hip flexor stretch, no forcing. Now can we think about that energy through the front shin from the beginning? So we're really activating the legs, hips to square to the front. The next time, if you're not already, you can have a go at lifting the arms. Find that footing, let the heels sink down, and stretch. So at this point, we want to avoid any back bending. We're not taking that kind of classic crescent shape. We're getting that pelvic tilt, so we're really focusing on the psoas, the front of the calf, a light stretch of the Achilles tendon at the back. So your pace, don't worry if there's a bit of wobbling. The brain calibrate. And where we're stressing any parts of the body, lightly, compassionately, the body will then send in reinforcements to strengthen that area. So as long as there's no pain, we're just challenging the system. This is all good stuff. Last couple on this side. Sometimes when we get so familiar with the movement, we start to think about what we're engaging. So let's try and have the ribs together, navel to spine, we lift. Now, to get that soft landing through the back foot, soften your standing leg, lightly tap down, lightly feel that work down through the muscles of the foot at the back, tilting the pelvis, and let's take a stretch here. So the ribs come out of the pelvis, deep breath in, that's what will give you that extra lift in the diaphragm and the extra lift, lengthening in the psoas major. Reach up through the fingertips. And then now the arms down. Brilliant. Have a little shake out the legs. But I think we've done so much on the arms recently, so we're going to come into a goddess squat and work the arms. Toes is turned out. Let's feel that nice length through the tailbone as we bend the knees. Check your knees aren't coming in. Trap the knees over the toes, lengthen through the tailbone. Take the arms out wide. All right. But now we're just going to bring the arms forwards until you can't go any further and really feel where the obstruction is, what stopping us going any further. Pause there, and then the reverse. Shoulders back and down, externally rotating the shoulders, keep spinning around, maybe the little fingers go up to the ceiling. Feel where that edge is, so long as you're not causing any pain, discomfort. It's good to tickle those boundaries a little bit. So let's go forwards and backwards a couple of times. We're pausing long enough to think, yes, that's as far as I'm going to go. So as we externally rotate, we might get some sensations right across the body. If you think about the fascia, the deep, the soft tissue that's involved in this wringing out of the arms, goes right across the body. Similarly, as we round forwards, try to notice or give time to feel sensations in the back of the body. Maybe you need to drop your chin to your chest. Brilliant, last time. Obviously the heart's working harder than normal because the arms are higher than the heart. Feel a squeeze between the shoulder blades as you roll back. And last time, rolling forwards. Before we go on, shrug out, shake out the arms with soft knees. We're back to the arms again. So extend the arms out wide. Let's now turn the palms to face upwards. Take your little fingers forwards towards me. Draw a big arc up to the ceiling and back, thumbs reaching the back wall and then down to the floor. Now fingers really active, so we're also lengthening the neck here. So let's go through those points rather than just thinking about wrapping through a circle. Actually think about that separation of the shoulder blades as the fingers come forwards. That lengthening, feeling the ribs coming out of the pelvis as we reach up. And trying to reach the back wall whilst keeping some abdominal tone here. So avoiding sticking the bottom out. Squeezing a pencil between the shoulder blades. And now this sensation of reaching for the floor at the top of the head to the ceiling, chin tucked into the neck. This is lovely for the neck. You may want to just pause here to drop the head side to side with a soft jaw. Again, reach the fingers up overhead, to the side walls, to the back wall, chest open wide, reach for the floor. If you're really active through to your fingertips, you'll be even getting some work into your triceps here. All right, we've warmed up the muscles. This is the last part, I promise. Now we're doing 10 circles where we're reaching into the fingertips. So the whole chain of our muscles is engaged. We're circling the shoulder joint. Let's try and engage through the core, front ribs together. Navel to spine. Try and hollow out this kind of powerhouse area firing up. We can add a little deeper bend into the knees. Try and breathe in as we come up. Breathe out, shoulders back and down. We're aiming to keep that vertical line from the base of the spine, the tailbone right up into the crown of the head. And let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, ends in sight. 6, spread the palms wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. Toe and heel the feet in. Have a good shrug. And now just take a swing of the arms. Let the back heel lift. I'm going to lower the camera, ready to come down to the floor. We're going to switch back to some classic Pilates work. So we're going to sit on our bottoms with the legs out in front of you. Now you're ready. All right. Make sure you've got space to roll back. Let's squeeze the legs together so we're toning the inner thighs and let's make them really tall. Big chest forward, shoulders back, zip everything in and up here. Take a deep breath in, float the arms up to the parallel to the floor. Can you see how when we're tight we want to dip back? It's really strenuous to stay up tall with shoulders back, chest forwards. Squeeze the legs together, feeling engagement in the glutes. Take a breath in here, spine stretch, and we dip forwards. We're not collapsing down. We're using those postural muscles that are holding the torso in place, and then we're breathing back up to sitting like that. So let's have 6 rounds, spine stretch, where we're pressing the big toes together, knees together, and the thighs together, squeezing the glutes. Any yogis, you try breath here is good, that ocean breath, really strong breath, in and out of the nose, creating that constriction in the throat. Every time we come up to standing, we cough out, the chest, shoulders back. Now, if we're not in sync, let's do last 2 here. And last one, and we're taking the Pilates roll back. Now, you know, I think everyone on here knows whether you want to do them full with straight legs, or whether you want to hold onto the fabric of your clothes, you want to bend the knees and roll back. It's finding some slow control, big breath in, arms overhead, might catch you away. As soon as you breathe out, lower the arms, chin into the chest, look at your toes, use your fabric of your clothes if you need, and we're looking for a controlled lift up and off we go. So let's think about the spine as being like a bicycle chain. One link at a time, finding its way down. Big release with the in-breath, and then the strength of the out-breath, navel to spine, closing the ribs to that lovely reset, chest forward, shoulders back. So we won't be entirely in sync, so let's just think roughly 6 rounds. With a reset, we want to establish that lovely alignment, beautiful posture as our default. So that then the next time we find ourselves in a very, very comfortable, sloppy sofa, we'll actually reset and engage all of those muscles. I make the next our last. We're going to break up this movement now with a spinal twist. So when you come up to sitting, let's stay here, reset, maybe move the flesh away from your glutes, hands on the opposite shoulders, we're ready to get twist. So staying really tall, deep breath in to prepare, and as you breathe out, turn to the left. Try to keep the chest slightly forward so that we still have that stacked alignment in the body. Just like with the initial work, try to find where your limit is before returning. A breath in here. We can use the fingers to lightly press into the shoulders just to give us that lift, thinking about the heart space lifting up to the ceiling. We'll wring out the waist, your belly turns, your ribs, shoulders, your gaze. Find that edge, find the limit, and then return. Breathe in to prepare. Here we go right to our edge without forcing, that kind of mindful coaxing of a little bit more mobility in the spine. We're using so many muscles. I don't know about you, but I find that my body temperature quite quickly starts to rise. Try to keep the shoulders down, away from the ears. Chin still tucked into the chest. Let's give you one more set. Then we're going back into the roll back with a reverse curl. So that's just great for targeting those lower abdominals that we often leave out because they're harder to reach. Okay, before we move on to those reverse curls, just have a little easing out and roll from one bottom cheek to the other. You can stay there, giving yourself a little break while I just remind you from a rolled down position. Arms are strong. I like to create a fist, the pinky side of the hands down, catch the shoulders, elbows press into the floor so that when I lift the legs, I have the strength of the triceps. Up the hips and then lower down. So we can either go from straight legs. If you're ready, you can go all the way over into a plow, but really it's that small lift in the hips, which will really target these lower abdominals. So keep going your level. If that's too hard, we keep the knees bent, knees into the chest, and it's a press of the shoulders, elbows, fists into the floor, and we might start to get a little bit of a rock. Now, don't worry if initially you need a little bit of momentum. This little sway, it's all about creating those pathways, strengthening the neurological pathways, brain to the muscles, what needs to be activated, so that gradually you can start to think about, okay, I've managed to use momentum to lift the hips, now slow, 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 light as a feather, and that's where you'll start to really engage your triceps. So find a level where you're starting to get a little bit of lift in the hips. We want to try to minimize that lift in the shoulders. And even if the hips aren't moving, be patient with yourself. Sometimes it's just the intention which will engage. Have a go. You know, if you're finding it frustrating, hips aren't lifting, press into your lower abdominals and just take a minor lift, like a hiccup, and you'll feel those lower abdominals engaging. Wherever you are, whether you're taking straight legs into the plow, let's take one more round together. And then let's take the knees into the chest. Great. Little rock on the spine. We're rolling onto our bellies. We'll take the swimmer. But really key here to tilt the pelvis so the pubic bone is pressed into the floor. We've got the arms overhead or in a wider V position. Forehead to the floor. So remember, tilt the pelvis so the tailbone is pointing down to the heels. Here, from this position, as we engage the abs, so feel like you're trying to create space here for me to slide my hand under your belly. We straighten the right arm, left leg, and hover on top of the floor and reach wide away from the belly. And then float the arm and leg down, other side. Re-engage, pubic bone tilting, core engaged, create some space in your belly, float the opposite arm and leg up and lengthen. Not interested in lifting up high. I'm thinking about creating space in all the joints in that oppositional stretch from opposite arm to the leg. floating down. We're taking it side to side. Keep the chin tucked into the chest. If you're ready, you can float the whole of the upper body up and lower down. Let's avoid any jerking here. We have the palms of the hands facing each other. So if you're lifting the head and the forehead floats off the floor, and pressing into the knife edge, the pinky, the little finger of the arm that's on the floor. If you're getting any warm sensations in the lower back, it means that you're starting to stick the bottom out when we're straining the lower back. So let's try to keep that tucking the tailbone. We're nearly there. Take a big stretch. Last setting side, and then we'll be taking a child pose. Nearly there. Big stretch across the body. Feel like you're actually lengthening and getting longer each time you replace the hand and the foot on the floor. Amazing. Hands under the shoulders. You can tuck the toes and take it back to a child pose. Either with the toes tucked or untucked. Nice thing about tucking the toes under is you get a nice bend in the toes. But equally, toes untucked, we can get a little bit more softening in the lower spine. So just feel whatever emphasis you feel would be more beneficial for you. Nice deep breath in and out of the nose. And then let's roll up through the spine. Let's take the right leg out in front of us. Left on the outside of the knee, sitting up tall and hug with the opposite elbow. We'll turn the chest to face the wall on the left and lengthen up through the spine. Wringing out the waist here with all the abdominal work. Really good to take a twist afterwards. Try and keep both sit bones into the floor, shoulders down. Now, belly, turn your navel all the way over to the left. Can we get a little bit more movement into the rib cage? Can we take that back shoulder a little bit further around? And last of all, can we look over the shoulder? Hugging the knee into that opposite armpit, so getting a full stretch over that left bottom cheek. Try and keep your straight leg really active. Maybe press the heel a little bit deeper into the floor. And then release, other side. Extend the left leg, right foot on the outside of the knee. Move the flesh away so you can sit tall on the sit bones. Grab the knee with the opposite elbow. Again, sitting up tall, so we start from a really upright position. Start with your belly turning. Sometimes it's even helpful to get hold of your belly, move that flesh around, and then the ribs, and then the shoulder. See if we still got both sit bones planted to the floor. Now press down through the sit bones and feel longer through the spine. Start to feel the twist right into the shoulders. And can we add in a turn so looking over the shoulder? Try and intensify or close the gap between the knee and the opposite armpit. And then active straight leg, press it into the floor, the heel into the floor, and see if that gives you a little bit more scope to turn a tiny bit further, really wringing out the waist. And then gently release, come center. Extend the legs, have a little shake out, and now let's stretch out the arms. Any comfortable sitting position is fine. Let's first of all take a nice deep breath and then stretch overhead. Reach for the ceiling, stretch side to side through one set of fingers and then the other. And then let's drop the right hand down the back. Hold the elbow and draw the elbow back and up to the ceiling. Let's drop the shoulders down away from the ears. Depending on how far you can lift your elbow, you might be able to lean the head back into the forearm to increase the stretch. Take a few breaths here, shoulders down, elbow lifting. We're working on a stretch of the triceps. Breathing deeply. The same arm, the right arm across the body. Take your left arm underneath. And so you're pulling, lightly pulling the arm out to the socket, but the socket's being drawn back. So feel you're creating some space in this right shoulder. Stretching the fingertips, and then let's make a fist and circle. But all the time, your primary focus is on creating space in the shoulder joint. Well, that works standing up, circling the arms. We've strengthens, tighten out the muscles now, really good to give them a bit of length so they can fully relax. And then the other side, shrug out the shoulders, reach for the ceiling, spread the fingers and then drop the hand down the back, hold the elbow and coax it up to the ceiling and back. Now, down through sit bones. See if you can zip up the lower belly, front ribs, because it's very easy to start to just back bend here, trying to keep that tone in the abs whilst lifting the elbow up to the ceiling. You can add a little bit more of a stretch, shoulders down, breathing deeply. It's the last thing, you're nearly there. And then the same arm across the body. Take hold from underneath, like you pull out of the socket. Two-way stretch, just like a tub of water. We create some space in the shoulder joint. Let's spread the fingers and make a fist. Both directions with a fist. Let the shoulders drop down. And then we shrug out. A couple of shoulder rolls. Turning the head side to side. And my clock says 30 minutes.